Schumacher in trouble. Schumacher, look at Damon Hill and Schumacher. Oh no! Schumacher and...
I think you can't credit the guy with the coolness and the ability to think clearly and calculatingly on the circuit during a race, and then turn around and say he didn't know what he was doing. It's either one way or the other. Either he's instinctive and he just does what he does, or he knows exactly what he's doing.
All the experienced race drivers, they will say, I wouldn't have done anything different. That's what it's racing about. It was my line, I was in front. Damon saw a chance to take, which I would have seen as well. He dived in, but I didn't see a reason to go away.
With the launch of the new car, expectations are high for 1995.
I really am fully prepared for this year. I've spent a long time preparing myself, and I know that the Williams team have spent an awful long time preparing this car. The FW17 is the product of many, many hours work in the wind tunnel by Adrian Newey, and with the technical directorship of Patrick Head. And all the people at Williams, they put in such a lot of effort into this car. It's going to be a race winner, and I fully expect to be a championship winner as well.
World champion Michael Schumacher is joined at Benetton by Johnny Herbert in the new B195, now with Renault V10 engines.
Can the champion sustain pressure? Is Hill capable of overtaking him on the track?
Schumacher was definitely under pressure during qualifying for Brazil. A light off damaging the front of the Benetton, followed by a major shunt from which the German was lucky to escape unhurt.
Nevertheless, he still managed to qualify on the front row alongside Damon Hill, 3/10 slower than the Englishman.
So, on the left, pole position for the first Grand Prix of 1995, Damon Hill. On the right of your picture, the light blue car is Michael Schumacher. Behind Hill is David Coulthard, and behind Michael Schumacher is Johnny Herbert. So all the front four cars are Renault powered. Then the two Ferraris. It's a 71-lap race. Long, out goes the green flag and the red light. It's go for 1995. Schumacher gets away. Hill is right alongside him as they go into the Senna S. But Schumacher leads as they go into the left-hander. Now the right of the Senna S. Schumacher's got the drop on Damon Hill. Behind the Williams there of Coulthard, you can see Mika Häkkinen. So coming down the straight as Hill dives out from underneath Schumacher's wing. It's Schumacher, Damon Hill, David Coulthard.
Behind on this lap, but it certainly seems that Schumacher is being pressurised. And just watch the next time we have some in-car shots, the amount that the steering wheel is moving. I've never seen that kind of movement in a Formula One car in all the years I've been around.
And Damon Hill has put up the fastest lap so far. 1 minute 22.4, and he's going for it. He has a look And Schumacher closes the door, which of course he's got every right to do. And Damon Hill goes through, tries again. Now Damon and Coulthard comes up alongside Hill and takes second position. But not for very long. Now, there are no team orders between the two Williams-Renault drivers, Damon Hill and David Coulthard. The only instruction they've had is not to take each other off for obvious reasons. And here is Schumacher. Now, we're with Michael Schumacher, who was the race leader but is no longer, because Damon Hill has gone through, Coulthard has gone through, and the positions are changing as I talk to you. 7.6 seconds for Michael Schumacher, an excellent stop. Remember, fuel goes in at the rate of 12 litres per second, so that's about 85 or so litres of fuel into Michael Schumacher's car, and he is passed by the Ferrari of Gerhard Berger.
Because that's costing him an awful lot of time.
Well, now, it looks to me, and I'm just waiting to see them come around, as though with Damon Hill in the lead. Coulthard some 5.5 seconds behind him. Schumacher challenging Gerhard Berger, as though Mika Häkkinen is up into third place, and Schumacher's going through at the Senna S to take the position from Gerhard Berger's Ferrari.
Now, tyre covers are off at Williams, so one of the cars coming in. It looks to me as if both Hill and Coulthard are running the same fuel strategy. They clearly won't come in on the same.
The Williams, Damon Hill, race leader Damon Hill. Now, is he going to get out quickly? Schumacher's time, stationary, was 7.6 seconds, so Damon Hill has lost 3.2 seconds stationary.
Clearly that's just what Damon Hill didn't need, but I think the problem there was the fact that the left front wheel was finished a little bit late, and there's been an interesting development this weekend. He's out ahead of Stu.
Yes, Damon Hill exits the pit lane in front of Michael Schumacher.
Years ago, I don't think you could have done that with a Lacey, but that was really professional, good stuff there.
Spin, and that...
I think that's Damon Hill. I think that is Damon Hill.
Let's see. It is. It is. Damon Hill, the race leader, has spun out of contention in Brazil. His race is over, and Michael Schumacher is in the lead, and David Coulthard is in second place, nearly 14 seconds behind him.
It was therefore an easy win for Schumacher and the delighted Benetton team. Coulthard would finish second after an uneventful but solid opener to his 1995 campaign, and Gerhard Berger would cross the line third in typically dogged fashion after that earlier problem in the pits. For Damon Hill, it was 10 championship points lost, and more importantly, to his chief rival.
Looking very good for the race, because I'd only done one stop and only had one more to do, and Michael had an extra stop to do than me, so things are looking very good. And then I lost a gear on the back part of the circuit, second gear, and then coming into the first corner here, I was accelerating down the hill, and the gearbox, I think the gearbox seized up, but I'm not absolutely sure yet what happened.
Echoes of Mansell in 91. Same corner, a gearbox problem eliminating him from an almost certain victory. Senna who collected the win that time, this time Schumacher.
In no way I would have imagined I'm going to win this race. I was settled already for second or third position.
A year after the tragic deaths of Roland Ratzenberger and Ayrton Senna, the Formula One circus returns to Imola for round 3 of the championship. And with Berger's red number 28 starting on the front row, the Tifosi have plenty to shout about. But first, 1 minute silence.
crash. Is it Schumacher?
Herbert?
It's Schumacher.
It's Michael Schumacher with a tremendous impact. You see both right side wheels are gone, but tire walls all around, and they don't seem to be scattered at all. Well, let's see if we can see what happened from his nose camera. You'll be the first to know.
Up the hill at Peraltata, he never made a single lap and loses it under braking, never made a single lap around on slick tires, obviously too cold, loses it, and the crash and the impact is about to happen right smack there. And he destroys the Benetton. That's the front nose cone on the upper left-hand side of your picture. Second impact, very, very hard on the right-hand side. Here it is, under braking, loses it on the grass, out of control totally. Takes the front off, backs it up into the tire barrier, nearly rolled the Benetton upside down.
Very lucky he didn't put it on its head. There goes Scotsman David Coulthard. Well, after an action-packed first 14 laps, Gerhard Berger now has a 9-second lead over Damon Hill, followed by David Coulthard. I got confused because we have a colored monitor for timing and scoring, and it has been absolutely lit up like a pinball machine. James Allen.
Gerhard Berger now comes into pits, his second stop of this afternoon's San Marino Grand Prix. The first time round was just the slick tyres. This time he's filling up with gas. It's quite a long stop, of course. That V12 Ferrari is quite a thirsty engine. He's back out there. Pretty quick stop, I would say.
Not anymore, James. Problems. They have to bring out the starting gun.
And very simply, he dropped the clutch and stalled the Ferrari. They use a two-pedal system on this car. It's a hand-operated clutch as opposed to a foot-operated clutch, and he stalled it, and he almost does it again.
Let's see how long that pit stop was. Out after 46 seconds.
An absolute disaster when you're trying to win a race. These Williams cars are fast enough without giving them a huge advantage by sitting stationary in the pit lane.
11th career Grand Prix victory and take the 1995 championship points lead away from arch rival Michael Schumacher.
Absolutely superb and controlled run by Damon Hill in very, very difficult conditions. And if you look to the left-hand side of your screen, you will see, hopefully, all the Williams mechanics rejoice. And Damon Hill comes over to celebrate with them.
A jubilant Hill was now firmly leading the championship, 6 points ahead of Schumacher and Alesi.
Difficult race because of the conditions at the beginning were pretty treacherous, and changing conditions and deciding when to go to slick tyres and trying to get through the back markers. All in all, there were a lot of things in the race that would have made it very difficult to make very easy to make a mistake.
Schumacher now had 4 wins, 2 Hill's 2. The Williams proving reliable this time, but lacking pace in the race. Ligier, celebrating their 300th Grand Prix, had figured strongly on home soil, thanks to Martin Brundle's efforts, and despite his jump-start penalty, Rubens Barrichello snatched a point in the final reckoning.
My only real hope would have been to really stay ahead of him in the pit stops, or hope that he was on a 3-stop, but there was no way I could stay with his pace today, and I have to make do with second place, and we'll have to go back and think again for Silverstone.
Michael Schumacher. It is Bouillon, the French driver. And now Damon says, I'm with you, Michael. And he's on new tyres, newer tyres than Michael Schumacher. And they're through the Beckett's, this magnificent complex. And Damon is pushing. Remember what happened in Australia last year when Damon Hill was as close as this to Michael Schumacher. Schumacher got rattled, Schumacher went off, and they're now right up behind the Sauber.
And what was interesting there was that Schumacher, to my mind, deliberately slowed a little on the last part of Beckett's. Hill was falling all over the back of him to make sure that Schumacher got a fast exit from the last part of Beckett's, because he knows that into the right-hander of Beckett's, and where one corner on is the best chance for overtaking, and he wanted to make sure that A, he got by Bouillon, and secondly, that he didn't give Damon Hill the chance to take a run up alongside him.
Was that tit for tat? Because Schumacher was very angry with Damon Hill in the French Grand Prix for giving him, Schumacher, what he said was a brake test as they came up to lap Roberto Marino. Hill backed off, and Hill closes right up on Schumacher now. Hill backed off, and when you back off in a Formula One car, there's no flywheel effect in the engines. It's just as though you put the brakes on. And Schumacher had to do just that in France. So maybe he was looking very closely at Damon Hill.
This is the best battle of any Grand Prix this year. It's Mark Blundell that's now in front of Michael Schumacher, but to have a 2/3 distance, the two arch rivals separated by 1 to 2 seconds, is absolutely fantastic. With Damon Hill on his home ground, pumped up as much as any driver ever can be, Michael Schumacher knows too that this is the time when he needs to prove, if he believes it, that he's the best driver, and it's all going to happen in the next 15 laps here at Silverstone.
Down the hangar straight. Schumacher, rightly or wrongly, believes that the British Grand Prix last year was taken away from him unfairly due to that black flag incident. That's a point of view thing as well, but he's going to be just as determined to stay ahead of Damon as Damon is going to be determined to get past him. And it's going to make an enormous difference in World Championship terms, because if Schumacher can stay ahead of Hill and win the British Grand Prix, he will increase his World Championship lead of 11 points by 4 points. If Damon Hill could get past Michael Schumacher and win, it would decrease the gap from 11 points to 7 points. Oh, what's happened? Damon's lost it, has he? Stops! Off! They're both off! Who is that? Is that a Tyrrell, or is it?
It's Schumacher. They're both off, they're both out. Now, you suddenly saw Damon Hill's steering wheel whirl about in his hands. Now, whether they collided or not, I do not know, but whatever. Well, hang on, we're going to show you what happened. Schumacher waves his hand in disgust. Now, this is it. Here they are, Schumacher on the left, Damon Hill on the right. Damon attacks, goes through on the inside. Contact. Now there's going to be a big argument about that. Damon Hill will say, I was close enough to get through on the inside. Schumacher will say, in no way were you. But the result is, of course, that Johnny Herbert is leading the British Grand Prix.
Memories of Adelaide 94 were at the top of most people's thoughts about the incident on lap 46 between Hill and Schumacher. Neither contender admitting fault, Hill claiming it to be a racing incident and Schumacher placing all the blame at the Englishman's feet.
It was not necessary.
Now, it's no secret that you are not exactly wondering where your next dollar is coming from. But I find it very hard to believe that you're contemplating moving next year just for money. So what other considerations are involved?
It's a good point, which I'd like to speak in the end of the season about, because now I want to concentrate completely and 100% with what I'm doing here. We have a fantastic relationship still in the team, which we had over more than 4 years, nearly 5 years' time. And the team is handling the situation quite well. They accept what I do, and it's a pretty good relationship, but there's no reason now to talk what's going on next year while we're middle in this season.
Gerhard Berger, 36 years old on race morning, would start from pole position. Teammate Alesi shared the front row, with Hakkinen third and Herbert fourth. Hill was back in 8th, and Schumacher even further behind in 16th, both having suffered problematical wet qualifying sessions.
Very frustrated at the moment, but as you rightly say, Michael, the man who is most important to beat and be ahead of, is 8 places behind me on the grid.
So if your job is difficult, how much more difficult is his?
Well, his job is exceedingly difficult if he's going to get in the points, but I don't think that's impossible from where he's on the grid, because the cars between him and me are substantially slower, so I reckon he'll carve his way through those fairly quickly. From my place upwards, the cars are a lot quicker and it's more difficult to make up places. But the most important thing is for me to get in the points, get as high up the points as I can, and make sure I'm ahead of Michael.
12 seconds. So take a second off for the fuel hose going in and then coming out. Coulthard going much slower. David Coulthard touring. Lap 14. David Coulthard touring, and past him goes the Ferrari. Oh my goodness, it looks as though Coulthard is out of the race, in which case Hill is now leading it. There's Berger, and yes, oh, you can see the readout on the dashboard, and David Coulthard tours, having led the race, and retires on lap 14. Nice clean stop, 10 seconds. So it's about 80 litres of fuel. And there's Berger coming in from 3rd, Irvine coming in from 4th. Now, that means to say that Michael Schumacher now, there he is up into 2nd position. He's just under 14 seconds behind Damon Hill. Schumacher is leading now, of course, I'm sorry. Schumacher leading with that stop of Damon Hill having depressed him. And there is Hill in the background. Now, the point of this is that Schumacher has not been in and is on worn tyres, although with a lighter fuel load. Damon Hill has got a heavier fuel load, but to compensate for that, he has new tyres and greater grip. It took about 10 seconds for the Williams. It's taken 9.2 for Michael Schumacher. And Olivier Panis, of course, is well down. He was 23 seconds behind the leaders. So Schumacher will be rejoining in 2nd position on lap 19. But you look at the race leader, Damon Hill, who is on his 19th lap, having stopped. And we need to be looking at Hill, because here is Michael Schumacher going through. And he's now again leading the Belgian Grand Prix, but he is on slick tyres. He's got to go another 4 miles before he can change those tyres if the weather deteriorates. I didn't see whether Damon Hill put slicks or wet weather tyres on. Maybe we'll be able to find out through Tony Jardine, but meantime, Hill is back on the track. There he is. Here's Schumacher. Now you can see, look at the water on the track. Schumacher's got a major problem, and that is Damon Hill. Now, is he on wets? Yes, he is. Damon Hill has got the right tyres, Schumacher's got the wrong tyres, and I confidently predict that Schumacher will be passed by Damon Hill, probably on this lap. A comb when the braking is called for, but Hill could pull out of the slipstream of Michael Schumacher's Benetton and take the lead at the Belgian Grand Prix, if not sooner. He's looking for a way past. Schumacher blocks his path. Now, this is the chance for Damon Hill. This is where I said, but Schumacher's going to try and cut him off. Hill is alongside him and goes through. No! Schumacher still marginally ahead. Pushes Damon Hill sideways, retaining his...
Or the team, and almost certainly a combination of the both, is gambling on the weather. We've got Williams and Damon Hill who've decided that it's best to come in, put the right tyres on for the current prevailing conditions, whilst we've got Benetton who are taking the view, and again Hill goes round the outside. Hill's trying the outside. Schumacher is driving very precisely, making Damon Hill really work. If you're going to come round by me, you're going to go round the long way, thinks Michael Schumacher, and he's absolutely right, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time before Hill does get by.
On wets now, again Damon Hill tries at La Source.
And the rain has stopped in front of us in the commentary box. The rain has stopped, and if that's the case around the remainder of the circuit, that's going to mean that Damon Hill's gamble is likely to fail, because as soon as the track starts to dry, if Schumacher can hold Hill off now when the track may be at its wettest, if it's no longer raining, then he will almost certainly start to pull out again over the next few laps, and Hill may well be forced to go back into the pits and return to slick tyres.
Remember Ayrton Senna and Nigel Mansell at Monaco? This is almost a replay of that. Now, is Hill going to get through? Yes! And Michael Schumacher runs wide, loses grip, goes over the grass. And I remember Nigel Mansell doing that at the same point in the Ferrari. But let's hear as you watch Schumacher and Damon Hill at the bus stop. Damon Hill in second position with Schumacher through and into the lead, and Damon Hill really loses it coming out of the bus stop there. That is surprising, because Schumacher, you can see, is on those slick tyres, and it looks to me as though the train, you can see there's a shadow now, and it looks to me as though Schumacher is going to come out on top as a result of tyre choice. Into third gear and about 85 miles an hour. That's where Schumacher went off earlier on. Damon Hill goes through.
Well, as we expected, the track is getting worse. Schumacher's time on that previous lap was a 2:09. That's 3 seconds slower, and there is the safety car. The safety car is out because of the number of cars on slick tyres and the wet conditions, and what's going to happen now is that all the cars will now have to follow in formation behind that safety car.
Alongside Roberto Marino, is Roberto going to give way and let the Williams through? Yes! So, almost together, the Benetton of world champion and world championship leader Michael Schumacher, as Marino nearly loses it. Damon Hill is second. We have 12 laps to go, including the one that they are on.
Covering with no damage.
We've just heard that Damon Hill has been given a 10-second penalty for going too fast in the pit lane. And that means to say that instead of being 1.7 seconds behind, he was 11.7 seconds behind. Those are the Williams crew members, and that could be... He's got to come in for 10 seconds yet. I'm sorry, my apologies.
Schumacher cruised across the line to score his 16th career win, where 4 years previously he'd scored his first. With Hill in second and Brundle in third, Frentzen, Blundell and Barrichello were left to sweep up the remaining championship points.
Schumacher had extended his lead at the head of the championship table by 4 points, and with Alesi, Coulthard, Herbert and Berger all failing to score, the principal championship rivals had furthered the gap to the rest. After the race, attention focused on the incident on lap 23, the two rivals unsurprisingly differing in their views.
I knew it's going to dry out. I knew he had this momentum where he might be quicker, and I think we had a pretty tight run. I certainly was defending the position, and it got very tight, but I think we done it in situation where it was quite easy. We didn't do it in high-speed corners, and in slow-speed corners nothing can really happen if you drive that close, and I just took that risk.
Yeah, that's all fair. It's all well and good if it's accidental, but if it's meant on purpose, then I'd be pretty upset. And you know, I think it's all very well to have a close race, and I enjoyed it. Everyone enjoyed watching it, but you know, these are Formula 1 cars, they're not go-karts, as I've heard someone say once before. And so, but congratulations to him for coming from 16th to win the race.
You must try go-karts. They're good.
Yeah.
Or in fact the only fuel stop that all these cars will make, certainly the leading three to come beginning lap 24. It could be lap 24 onwards when it's all going to happen.
Bouillon is in front of Schumacher and is about to be lapped. He moves over, Schumacher gets through, Damon Hill gets through, and Alesi gets through. Second, third and fourth pass and lap 14th place Jean-Christophe Bouillon, and the implacable rivals Schumacher and Hill are now up with Taki Inoue and past his arrows. That shows you the speed differential between a top car and one of the lesser ones. And Hill hits Schumacher, they both go off! They both go off! This is a repetition of Silverstone. Amazing! Taki Inoue, I don't know whether he got in the way, but Hill attacked, saw his opportunity. Schumacher running up to the Williams. Now, is he going to have words with Damon Hill? And the crowd is going wild with delight because they know now that Alesi is second. Damon Hill in the car and Schumacher shaking his head in disbelief. Now, big discussion about this as a disgusted, angry Michael Schumacher walked back with Damon Hill, and the crowd are delighted.
Schumacher and Hill were at the centre of controversy once again. Here we can see how first Hill and then Schumacher saw the incident. Unfortunately, we can't tell you what was said here.
In the situation where he is second to Schumacher in the championship, and he spins and goes off. Damon Hill out. It's a wet patch, and Hill is out of the Grand Prix of Europe, and therefore effectively, in my opinion, virtually out of the World Championship. Michael Schumacher is on 6 points. Damon Hill is going to score no points in this race, so that at minimum, as as a thunderstruck David Brown looks at the monitor and Damon Hill walks away from the Williams. That means to say that there is going to be a minimum of an increase in the gap in the World Championship between Schumacher and Hill of 6 points from 17 to 23 with 30 points left. It's looking virtually impossible for Hill to win the World Championship. He won at Hockenheim, the German Grand Prix. This is the Nurburgring, Germany. And this is great motor racing at the front, the like of which we haven't seen for a long time. Michael Schumacher sees number 27 on the rear wing of Jean Alesi's Ferrari. What a famous number that is. And Brundle and Häkkinen are still ahead. Alesi, you see, has got to remember where Schumacher is when he plans how to get ahead of Häkkinen and Brundle, if indeed he can. This is lap 65. There's only 2 laps to go after this one. Alesi, Schumacher, Coulthard third, Barrichello fourth, Hill is out, Irvine is fifth, Herbert is sixth, and Schumacher has a look. Now, can he get through on the inside? Alesi resists him, he's coming up to a left-hand bend, so he's got the inside line. What a struggle. Brundle goes past Diniz, or tries to, and still Alesi has got this problem, and off goes Häkkinen, and off goes the 40 in front of him.
Well, I've heard of moving out of the way for the leaders, but that was pretty ridiculous.
And again, now we're with Michael Schumacher. This is lap 65. 2 laps to go at the end of this one. And Schumacher... Yes! Michael Schumacher takes the lead in the Grand Prix of Europe, and the Benetton team go berserk with delight. Now I think he will pull away from Jean Alesi, who will feel deflated, bitterly disappointed and enormously impressed. The psychological pressure, I think, will get to the Ferrari driver. Indeed, it has done so already. And Michael Schumacher has got this lap and the next one to go between himself and the checkered flag for a glorious 7th win this year.
A replay shows just how close they both were to coming off. Wheels interlocked, they had touched. The German's 17th Grand Prix victory, and probably his greatest so far. The 2nd consecutive title virtually in the bag.
I have to say that the guys have the whole year done a fantastic job in all this area, pit stops, strategies, giving me always a car which I was able in the end of the day to win, even it was difficult at when we started sessions Friday and Saturday, but up to Sunday we always were there. And I thought as well that being able to win in Hockenheim, I used up my luck, but I didn't use up all of this. I was able to win here in front of a home crowd, which was unbelievable. When I saw Damon gone off, I thought either to stay in 2nd position, drive home 6 points, or go in and fight for the 1st place, which was quite far away at this moment. But then when I saw all this support and the fans, I thought I must win. I must do everything to win this race. So I did, it worked out. But I have to say a big reason and a big thanks to my supporters. They have been here under difficult circumstances, I mean weather and everything. It's fantastic to see I have such fantastic supporters.
For Hill, it was a day of ifs and buts, but he was the one who had to go for it and failed. And he was the first to congratulate the victor.
Michael Schumacher enters the last corner of the last race of the last lap to win the Pacific Grand Prix in Japan and to become the world champion of 1995. The Benetton team, of course, are ecstatic.
respectful of his ability as a driver. He's shown on numerous occasions that he has extraordinary talent and speed, and
thank you.
Congratulations to him for his second World Championship.
The way the team has come up with strategies and used the strategies and done it, I mean, it's I know I've seen something like this, and I have really to say I have a good crew who does this job. It's unbelievable for me. Not one mistake this season, really, and just really, really good, these guys.
But another marriage at the end of the season as well. Michael Schumacher is now a Ferrari driver. And for his first appearance at Fiorano, the Tifosi had gathered. Schumacher has signed for 2 years to drive for Ferrari, and there's no doubt the attention will be massive.